Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Before we get started, Glenville Town Supervisor Chris Ketzler would like to give an invocation. Thank you, Mike. Please join us and join me in prayer. Dear God, we gather here today in a common cause, to join as one in support of our core beliefs and principles that our rights are indeed granted by you and not by man, not by governments, and that by natural order they shall not be infringed upon by anyone. We believe, Lord, that the government of the people shall be one that is limited in power and in scope. We believe that governments are created to serve the people, and then when those governments become unresponsive, or when they begin to infringe on the rights that you endowed upon us, that it is our obligation and responsibility to change such government. We believe, Lord, that our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness flow from you, and that our right to self-preservation and self-defense is, in fact, a natural right, and any government that seeks to limit that right attempts to subvert your will. Help us, Lord, help our leaders to remember that none of these amendments grant us any rights. What they do is forbid the government from infringing upon that which you have given us. Help us, Lord, to be strong in our defense of our rights. Help us to be vigilant in our efforts to protect ourselves and our families from tyranny. Help us remember that in all things you are present, and that we as your people will never be subjugated, that we will never be enslaved, and we will never submit to the rules of tyrants over that which is your will. We ask that you bless this nation, that your presence remains central to its core, and that this government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish this earth. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Let me start out by saying this. There is one person who should never own a gun, never hold a gun, never have a gun or any ammunition. His name is Andrew Cuomo. And I will tell you why that's the case. Every day he shoots himself in the foot. And if he had a third foot, he'd shoot himself in that other one, too.
And there's one good thing about the SAFE Act, just one. It ended Andrew Cuomo's chance of becoming president.
I want to tell you a little bit of a personal story. I am from Herkimer, and I do represent Remington Arms, and quite sadly, a couple months ago, we had a real tragedy in our community. We had a gentleman who had some, apparently some emotional issues. He went on a rampage. He shot, killed 4 people, wounded a few more people. My district office was located about 100 about 200 feet from where this guy was holed up in this abandoned hotel on the main street of Herkimer. They were on lockdown. I have some employees that were very concerned about what was going on, rightfully so. I jumped in my car. I drove up to Herkimer. I pulled in to where our office was. I got out of my car, and the policeman said, wait, this is an active crime scene. You cannot go over on the main street in Herkimer. You have to stay right here. And I looked over there, and the first person I saw was, guess who? Governor Cuomo. So I said, if he's there, I'm going to be there. We had a little bit of a confrontation, but I got to tell you, the reporters asked him, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And his response was, and I'll never forget this, I'm here to help out in any way I can. He was there to help Governor Cuomo out any way he can. He had visions of being on national TV at this shooting, of being a national hero, which is why he proposed this bill to begin with. It's all about cynical political opportunism. I represented the district until redistricting came about that included Remington Arms, and all other issues aside, I've got about 1,350, 1,400 friends, neighbors, relatives who work inside that plant. They show up every day. They do a good day's work. They put out a great product, and the governor has put them at risk. The day this bill was passed, I had about 2 dozen Remington folks come in. Obviously, their futures are at stake. They wanted to know what this SAFE Act would mean for them and the future of Remington Arms. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we could not tell them what was in that bill because the bill was not drafted yet. The Senate was voting on that bill at 10:30 that night.
They expected you to kind of yell and scream for a week or so, maybe 2, and then you'd all calm down and you'd take it. You're not taking it, are you? Not taking it. Enough is enough. This is our country. That is a Bill of Rights. It is not a Bill of Permissions. And he did not have permission to take our rights. We can fix this next year. Trust me, it can be done. Do not give up. Stay involved. Get out there and vote. Get your friends, family. That is the absolute key. That's the only way to fix this. Repeal it at the voting booth, and we can change our direction. We can change our stars here in this state.
Enforcing the laws we have in place right now will make us safer. Now we're going to try our best for repeal. We're going to try with the legislation. I know we're going to try in the courts, but it may come up to next year. That's when we're going to have to use another part of the Constitution. That's our First Amendment right. And our First Amendment right is to walk into the voting booth next year and vote out those individuals who trampled on our Second Amendment and vote back in those people who walked the walk and stood up that day, are working now to bring our Second Amendment back to this state. And we can do that next year if we band together and get in there and vote those guys out.